My name is Chris Manfrey.
My name is Jeremy Chatelaine.
My first name is Samantha, Samantha.
My name is Gabriella, Gabriella.
My name is Michael Johnson. It's Mychael, and Johnson is Johnsson.
So my most embarrassing moment
There's probably been multiple really embarrassing moments in my life.
My most embarrassing moment
was on a sunny afternoon in the middle of the summer. I happened to be really busy that day, which is not uncommon in my life. And I was walking in a parking lot. I was talking on the phone. I had a plate that I brought from home with all of my lunch on it. And I was also just bought a cup of coffee, and I was carrying a cup of coffee. And as I was walking along, talking on the phone, carrying the plate and a cup of coffee that was completely full, I tripped somehow on a small rock, and I fell flat onto my face. The plate went flying into the air, the coffee cup went flying into the air, and so did my cell phone. And everything landed on the ground. And there was this girl that I kind of liked was standing in the distance, and I saw her laughing at me. But in the end, I feel like there was triumph because after I got up, I was bruised up pretty bad, but my cell phone didn't break, the plate with my food on it didn't break, and the coffee cup actually didn't spill all of the coffee out of the cup.
The two most embarrassing moments that I can think of right now are when I was in 7th grade, which is already a really awkward, terrible time in life. I was running to a class. It was classic. I had an armful of books, and a 9th grader stuck his foot out and tripped me, and I fell, and it was like a yard sale. All my books went all over the hall, and then he stood over me and laughed, and then walked away.
last week, we had a Republican senator coming in, who I will leave unnamed, and we were trying to figure out a name for a shadow puppet movie that we did that was about like gossip and why you shouldn't trust things that people say, and they were yelling out names and stuff, and from the top of my lungs I yelled, "Fake news!" So that was pretty embarrassing.
Were you still embarrassed about it?
Yes. Almost proud now.
So I have a really hard time like being deeply embarrassed. Like I get embarrassed over stupid things, like when people give me compliments, that's really embarrassing. But I have like a really hard time doing things that are embarrassing that I regret. But in thinking about this, I used to work at like a shoe store boutique, and one day, and it was just like this really small like retail space where like there was like a desk and the cash register and like the front desk, and so the employees would like, it was like 2 of us at a time typically, we all stand behind this really small desk. And I was like standing there and I farted, and it smelled horrible. Like it was like like just an inappropriate fart, like the worst kind of fart ever. And then my coworker, but I couldn't like move, and then my coworker walked back, like right after, he like walked back behind the desk. And we just stood there, and I stood there in silence, and he was like, "Oh my God." And I was like, "What? What happened?" And I knew exactly what had happened. And he definitely knew what had happened as well, but we didn't talk about it. And that's like really embarrassing and horrible to me. But yeah, that's my most embarrassing moment.
What is the most embarrassing moment in my life? One of them is probably when I had to dance this summer for the summer camp that I was teaching, because my buddy was teaching the other half of the camp, and he's a dancer and knows that I don't like to dance. So he got all the kids like cheering and clapping like, "Mike, Mike, Mike, Mike." So I had to go dance for the kids because I would have been a jerk otherwise. But that was embarrassing.
When I first got an iPhone, I was having an argument with someone on my phone, and I took my phone, the argument was over, the phone call was over, and I took my phone away from my ear and started saying bad things about this person, and I hadn't hung my phone up because I didn't realize you had to like hit the red button to hang the phone up, and they heard everything I said. Yeah, that was awful. That was only a few years ago, too.
I think that I'm not embarrassed about it anymore. I actually think it's kind of funny.
Oh yeah, I got someone go like, and then someone go, shh, can it? So they did.
I'm sure that the tripping incident is not remembered by anyone but me. The phone call is probably, yeah, that person probably remembers what happened, unfortunately.
Did it affect anybody else? I'd like to think that it affected the kids in a good way. Definitely no negative effects. I mean, unless people like really hated what they saw with me dancing, which is a total possibility. But no, there were only good effects. Lots of smiles, lots of laughter.
How do you think this experience has shaped you as an individual?
I think it's made me realize that even though life can seem disastrous, you can still survive and triumph.
Yeah, it's not good to say horrible, nasty things about people when they can hear you and they don't, and you don't think they're listening. Oh, that's awful, and it's embarrassing, and it makes you feel like a bad person.
I think my embarrassing moment has shaped me as an individual in that I should think before I speak.
From this experience, I've learned that you can't really anticipate when your farts are going to be crazy, but you should own up to them because you're probably going to feel worse about it if you don't than if you just did deal with the embarrassment. I just know that there's a person walking around now who just thinks I'm so gross and also a liar. So it's pretty hard. I don't think I'd have this much weight carried around with me for so long if I had just owned up to it in the first place.
What did I learn from this experience? That it's okay to have fun and get out of your comfort zone and have a good time, even though it's something that you don't normally do.